Welcome to the Smokin Word. Welcome to the Smokin Word.
The Smokin Word. The Smokin Word. The Smokin Word. What up? What up? What up? The Smokin Word. The Smokin Word. What's up, everybody?
It goes on and on.
We are live over here from a secret location in Syracuse, New York. We got a very special guest.
Syracuse.
But our guest today is all right. We gotta start hooking these guys' intros up. So we'll start with
think grandiose.
Vegan, OG, warrior, general, hardcore, Syracusean,
militant, straight edge,
son of a bitch,
Viking, fucking hummus eating, fucking couscous drinking. My favorite vegan and yours, Karl of Earth Crisis, and name a couple of the other projects you've done.
Freya, Path of Resistance, we got it all.
Everybody, we want to welcome Karl to the Smokin Word podcast. What better place to have our favorite straight edge vegan talk shit with, people under the influence.
Yeah. Wouldn't be the first time.
But yeah, we're over here. We're actually doing this podcast from the van today because we're doing the East Coast run up to Canada, and we're in Syracuse, and we figured we'd get together with an old friend, my boy Carlos from Earth Crisis with an F, Earth Crisis. But very smart guy. Very interesting character.
Very open-minded.
We're going to get into that. We were talking
glad you pointed that out.
Old friend, and but we got Freddie. He's back with us over here, and we also got another good friend of ours from the Jewish persuasion, representing Israel. We got my man Ruben over here, who's going to be keeping an eye on the clock. So that's where you're going to keep an eye on that clock. You see it ticking. All right, Carlos, what's up?
Dude, I'm glad you guys are out.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys are out playing shows. You got our boy Mike with you?
Yeah. It's the best part, everybody. Just setting up the microphones. Karl wasn't even sure this shit was going to work. He's looking at us like cavemen. Like gorillas trying to put pegs in the fucking hole trying to start
I know
this.
you guys, though. In my defense, I do know you.
What's going
You
on?
know the old version of us. Come on, Carl.
New and improved.
This is an improved version.
All right.
We're in a van doing this thing. This is crazy.
But what's up with So what's going on, though? The band. Talk to me. Which band?
All right.
First.
Earth Crisis, we had a great year. We're about to wrap it up now. We did Black and Blue with you guys in Candiria. That was awesome. We went down and did Southeast Beast with Life of Agony, and who else was there? Everybody was there. Biohazard was there. That was great in Florida, Jacksonville.
Oh yeah. I saw the bill. It looked stacked.
Yeah. It was good.
I remember, but I think we were on the road because
we were supposed to be on one of those. I don't know if it was this last one or a previous one, but we had some Europe stuff or something. But yeah, those are cool. Was it a cool fest? Because it's a cool fest, right?
It was awesome. There's no barrier. There's no security. The stage was low. It was perfect. Yeah.
And what's up with the other bands? Because I always I know you always switch. You guys sometimes do some Earth Crisis stuff, and then you do the other band
Freya stuff too. Yeah. Freya wrote a new record this year. Earth Crisis had a 7-inch come out on Bullet Tooth. We had the video come out, the soundtrack for Action, where they interviewed different bands that felt that they were somewhat influenced by what we've been doing.
Yeah.
And we went out and played with Slipknot in California, played Knotfest, and went to England and Detroit and North Carolina. So we were all over this year. We went all over. It was good.
And What's up with the other guys? How's everybody doing? I haven't seen you guys in a second. You guys are all scattered around, right? The Earth Crisis crew, right?
That's right. We've got Scott and Ian and Eric are down in North Carolina.
What up? What up?
We actually saw those guys not too long ago. Yeah, we caught up with them.
You guys are my favorite vegans. Yeah, obviously, Toby, I love you. But you guys, I always say my favorite
Toby
vegans.
this, Toby that. Come on.
But look, that's another thing. I want people that may not know who Karl is and his history. But besides singing for a hardcore band, one of the hardest hardcore bands, fucking real good band. But he's also a vegan, straight edge animal, or whatever you want to call him. But he's been involved with being vegan and the straight edge scene for how long now?
I am 45, and I've been straight edge since I was 16. And I've been doing bands since I was 18, so long time.
And when you started with the whole being straight edge or whatever, when did you get into did you become vegetarian then, and then you went into becoming a vegan? How did that happen? Because more than straight edge, it was where you guys was the vegan straight edge.
That's right, and that was kind of like the line of demarcation between what came before and what I feel in some ways we helped kind of create. But yeah, like Syracuse, for those who don't know, we're up in central New York. Like if you look at a map of New York State and you put a pin in it, that's where we are. And when we were teens, this lake here, Onondaga Lake, had listen. This is going to let you know why we care to the extent that we do. That lake was filled with like toxic waste. Raw sewage went into the lake when the storm drains would overflow, and there was acid rain coming down in the mountain range north of us, the Adirondacks, and was killing all of the marine life in those lakes from the pollution from Canada. And there's the nuclear power plants on Lake Ontario. They're obviously poisoning that water, irradiating it, using it to cool down their reactors. And to our west was Buffalo, and that was Love Canal. They built a housing development over a toxic waste bed. People are getting sick.
Nice. Good move.
Yeah, to the south was Binghamton. There's a tower down there known as the Toxic Tower, and I think to this day it's abandoned. They can't tear it down because of it's not asbestos, but it's something even worse in the building, and the people are getting sick. So,
Jesus.
Earth Crisis came from the reality of us seeing all this stuff happen around us, all the pollution, all the environmental destruction, the wildlife being killed off by all these pollutants and poisons, and that's why we take it as seriously as we do. Because
hence the name, right?
Yeah, hence the name. And it wasn't just like, like a concept. It was like, this is stuff that was like literally affecting our lives,
Right.
A lot of people here have asthma too, and I think it's...
Yeah, well, you know what?
Including me.
And that hits home because I have people in my family that have asthma, and I've had asthma. Actually, I outgrew it somehow.
That's good.
Which is pretty cool.
That's rare.
That's rare.
Yeah.
But you know what I can appreciate? That you guys were that way so young. You know what I mean? Because now I'm very, like at this age, obviously, people sometimes don't care. People choose to be oblivious, but I'm very aware of my surroundings and what's going on in the world and so on and so forth. I have my own, that's a whole other thing. But you guys were young guys and very, very aware and very, concerned about what was happening. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Considering your age and everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We were a little more forward thinking.
Yeah. You were very forward thinking for that age. I mean, how old were you guys?
Like 18, 19.
Right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And here you are,
all these years later,
creating a band that, is talking about all these things, all these very, very extremely important things that are like,
Yeah, they don't only affect our lives; they affect like what's going to happen in the future.
It's everything
with what Monsanto is doing and some of these other companies.
It's disgusting.
They're trying to literally restructure how plants grow, and they're putting, things that would repel insects into the structure, the cellular structure of the plant. Yeah. Like, who knows how that's going to pan out after people have been eating this food? Because it's going to get crushed up for grain or cornmeal or whatever. So
the thing that was interesting to me about you guys was something that exactly like the name of your band that and it's funny that's one of the main reasons that you got into being, like you just said, straight edge or vegan, was because of the environment. Some people get into that because I don't want to hurt the feelings of animals. Not saying that may not be one of your reasons, but that's sometimes the first stepping stones for some of the catalyst for some of these people out there, being the animals at first, and you were looking at it almost in a bigger picture when you're talking about the animals, but it's connected to how from the water we're drinking to what's growing and how we're abusing the land.
From what our government's doing to provide energy and so on and so forth. I mean...
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's crazy.
They're hurting people to,
And something we were just talking about before this, so like, again, a lot of people that are listening now are going to know who you are or a ballpark of where you come from, because if anybody knows the name Earth Crisis, they know them. I always think of two words, vegan, straight edge, three, and then scumbag for Scott. What up, Scott? But that's another start. But the thing about you guys, let me ask you this. This was the thing. You remember the first time we played together? Like the first tour, do you remember any? The thing was, what was crazy to me about that time was, as small as hardcore was, it was still, there was worlds apart. Like, there's people that never crossed paths.
Right, there wasn't the internet yet.
Exactly. And one of the funniest things was, I remember before our first tour, people were like, yo, you got to tour with Earth Crisis. They're like, so, yo, what's up with you? And I go like, well, what do you mean what's up with me? Like, yo, you like to blaze? They're against blazing. I said, well, then it's going to be a problem. Because, we all got, their green is different than my green, but it's green. But what I always wanted to know was this. Being the guys that you were and being straight edge or whatever, and then you going on tour with animals, basically, what were you thinking? What was what did you knew about maybe Madball, maybe about AF, but what were you thinking coming into that tour? Because we didn't know each other at all before that.
We did not know each other, but we all grew up as fans of Sick of It All and Cro-Mags and Agnostic Front, and it definitely felt like, in the very early era, like Madball was a continuation of the Agnostic Front idea. Because there was even some guys from the band in it with you.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and if you think back at like all the kind of stuff that Roger was writing about, like, to me, he was like tackling like issues, not only things that were like frustrating or, a source of anger, but like, projecting stuff out even further.
Social stuff.
Yeah, like Yahweh promised conquered land, like lines like that, stick out, to this day.
Sure.
So the other thing to keep in mind is, when we were growing up here, there was no legitimate hardcore scene. There was one hardcore band that preceded us that was pretty aggressive called Catatonics. Those guys were all very cool to us. But like the majority of the people around here were very, very involved in drugs, very, very involved in alcohol. And it was like to an incapacitating point. Right. It wasn't like they were using it to like heighten something or celebrate. Well, you could choose your word, but the thought that we had in our minds from seeing how they were affected by drugs and alcohol was it was destroying them. You know what I mean? Like, let's say some guy was like a good lacrosse player, he was a good skateboarder. After like 4 or 5, 6 years of this,
shot.
He was shot. He didn't care anymore. He wasn't like pursuing that with any type of vigor. So we were like, okay, we're not going to let that happen to us, and that scared us. It literally did. And we loved all the straight edge bands at the time. A lot of the Boston bands, a lot of the New York bands, and but we loved all the punk bands from England too. We loved Conflict and Discharge.
I wanted to know that. Like, what was your background like?
Yeah, and Doom and all the New York bands, and we especially loved like DYS and Slapshot and SSD, all those
Control,
bands.
Yeah.
So we were taking those ideas, but we were like, there was only maybe 10 or 12 straight edge guys here,
right?
Which is crazy if you think. 10, 15 years later, CNN came here when they did a documentary about straight edge and filmed at this club when there was like...
This became the mecca for straight edge.
It pretty much did, truthfully. And it's like Orange County had it, Boston had it, New York had it, Connecticut had it, but we've pretty much had an unbroken chain of straight edge bands since the late 80s here. And I think that's kind of what made it different. And that's why they chose to come here. Because it was like legitimate, becoming adult age people still involved with it, Right.
Now, this is what I want to hear from you. The definition of straight edge, because I've heard people, bring up, obviously not doing drugs. Some people bring up not having sex.
Right.
What was straight edge to you? What was what was in that package to you? You say I'm straight edge, so you didn't do drugs. Was it foreign substances in your food? Did that go under that? Like, what was you, or just you not doing drugs? Was that being straight edge to you?
To me, straight edge, when it first started out, when we were listening to like Minor Threat and Teen Idols and all the other bands we were just talking about, they defined it as straight edge as a law of moderation, anti-obsession. Pretty sure that's almost word for word what Ian MacKay's thought on it was. So when it came around to the late 80s, 90s, and a lot of the people in those bands were no longer kind of on that path, and they veered off into other things, we were like, okay, you know what? What straight edge means to us is something different. It's a lifetime commitment to never touch a drop of alcohol or smoke cigarettes or, use drugs for escapism or be promiscuous, because nobody wants a stalker. Nobody wants an unplanned pregnancy. Nobody wants to unzip their pants and say, holy shit, what's this? You know what I mean? With a disease or something. So it was for practical reasons.
Use a rubber, kids.
Well, I'm just saying, it was for practical reasons, not to be crude, but, just to really break it down and be honest about it. Those were our thoughts. It's like, if we're going to be the best skateboarders or snowboarders we could be, if we're going to be the best musicians that we can be, we have to have a focus. And if we move all those things, we'll have a focus. And it's like, to answer your question from earlier, it's like, what did Earth Crisis think of Madball going out on the road? We saw you guys having a blast playing music and being a successful band. So there's like a balance. Like there's a balance for my parents. My parents do drink alcohol, but, my dad's an architect, my mother's an opera singer and a professor, and they're very successful with what they do. So it's like, I understand that different people handle it in different ways and different people use it for different things.
Exactly. And real quick, touching on that, because we were talking about it right outside, and it's a good thing. Now the whole smoking weed thing is like kind of in style. As you know, some of us in here, don't do things for style, but for the pure lust of the plant. But really, people now are starting to see the benefits, if it's medical or it's for making money for your state. What do you feel about the plant being around? Again, you're in a rock and roll scene, rock and roll being, music, whatever, where you're around drugs and meet people that do different things. I hate even using that word drugs, really, because I think of bad shit when this is like you're smoking lettuce to me.
Well,
you know what I mean? But what's your how do you feel about that plant, knowing that it has medical benefits and coming from through your eyes? You know what I mean?
Right. First and foremost, you could go back.
Fairly organic.
You could go back in time and look through like old Terrorizer Kerrang or whatever it was in the mid-90s. And back then, Earth Crisis was saying, this plant can be turned into a fiber that can be used for material to make shoes or jean jackets or belts or wallets. Yeah. It can be used, the seeds can be ground up for flour to make bread out of. It can be used by people who are going through chemotherapy when they have cancer or glaucoma, and it helps bring their appetite up, and which makes them healthier when they're trying to combat a disease. Exactly. Same thing for, there's a lot of people right now, like basically I see the enemy as the pharmaceutical companies and the drug cartels.
I'm right there with you.
The pharmaceuticals and the drug cartels to me are the enemy because they don't want to provide something to help people. They want people strung out, and they want you to think that no matter what's going on, you have an illness that needs to be diagnosed. Like all these commercials for all these pills are insane.
Oh.
And I'm just saying, if somebody legitimately has a chemical imbalance or this issue or that issue, and weed calms them down. You know what I mean? Or, weed provides them with some type of a balancing level. That's got to be a lot better for them than some crazy pharmaceutical thing cooked up in a laboratory by Pfizer. You know what I'm saying?
Most definitely.
Just like it's better to eat fruits and vegetables than it is processed food.
Yeah.
It's better that somebody use a plant, a natural source of this or that gets synthesized and put into pill form to make some company billionaires.
Yeah.
And at the same time, just like nicotine levels are added to or enhanced in cigarettes to keep people strung out on that, and I've heard that trying to kick a smoking habit is as traumatic as trying to stop using heroin.
It really is hard.
You know what I'm saying? So you don't know what else is being put in these pills, because I don't think these people are always going to be necessarily honest about what's going on, because I think their intention is not the health of the consumer or user of their product. The intention is to get them strung out on it so that they keep coming back.
That's right.
So those are pretty much my views on that.
And vegan. How many years vegan?
I've been
vegan. Yeah.
I'll be 45 at the end of this month, and I've been vegan since I was 18.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. A long time. And to some people, I realize they're going to say, well, this is boring. This is just, what is this interview about? This is about a guy who wants to...
We're not boring.
No, but here's what I'm going to say. Here's what compelled a lot of people to listen to our band. Because, there's plenty of great punk bands. There's plenty of great hardcore bands that sang about the benefits of being vegetarian, or that it's better not to be cruel to animals and torture them in a laboratory, or, shoot an exploding harpoon into a whale for something as trivial as dog food or oil,
goofy.
That's in their body. What Earth Crisis was singing about, and will always continue to, was what groups like the Animal Liberation Front were doing, the Sea Shepherds, and Earth First, and now you hear a lot more about that. There is the show Whale Wars. There are these documentaries that you can watch on Netflix about vivisection. But back then, when things would happen, when a laboratory was raided and monkeys were rescued, who were literally being tortured by scientists, it would be a local news story. And they would suppress it at that level, because they didn't want to see other laboratories getting broken into and other animals being rescued.
Right.
Same for the fur ranches and the other things. The, calves being rescued out of the veal crates. So they were suppressing that. And some of this stuff was huge. Like, there was tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of property damage to these companies when some of their facilities were damaged or burned or whatever, or files were destroyed. And that's one of the things that Earth Crisis always forwarded, that to us, we are all vegans, obviously. We all believe in animal liberation, and we encourage other people to be kind to animals or be vegetarian or vegan on what levels they're capable of, to do something to try and alleviate the suffering, to do something to try and stop the abuse of these creatures. But what these guys were doing was above and beyond the call of duty. It's an incredibly dynamic aspect, so we wanted to write songs about it. And it's like, if I was a journalist, if I was an author, if I was a documentary filmmaker, I'd be doing the same thing. But we're a band.
Right.
So we write songs.
This was
about
your
it.
album.
Yeah, we were writing
this was
songs
your
about
platform.
it. Exactly,
Yeah, that's great.
And a question is about this. You always I meet a lot of vegans doing this music. Now it seems everybody's vegan nowadays, which is cool if you're in it for the right reason. What is it about certain people that may be under the umbrella of being vegan? You think it's corny, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm a dude from the, I'm a regular dude, but I'm a guy from the streets. When I see a dude trying to be something he's not, like you're acting over exaggerated, I think it's corny. I think it's corny if you're not from the hood, acting you're like you're from the hood. Hold on, good job, Ruben. But yeah,
Yeah, check. Yeah.
Hold on, got it?
All right, buddy.
Let's go, we're going. Talking it.
But there's something off.
There we go.
Is it good? All right.
Yeah.
Ghetto Productions.
There you go.
Speaking of the streets. Talking about the streets.
So basically, is there anything about people false flagging or like are you offended when people are all right? They're vegan before just because they may live in Syracuse and everybody else is vegan.
No, I hear what you're saying. I mean, to me what's disappointing is when somebody will be out there saying this, and that. Like, for instance, I don't want to name names because
name names.
No. Because here's the thing. Okay, there was an athlete, a professional athlete who was vegan, and he was making like vegan shoes and all that kind of stuff, and then he stopped. Okay, that's one thing. Then he started hunting. Okay, that's one thing. But then he started hunting exotic animals, from what I understand. It's like, give me a break.
Christ.
You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous.
For what?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And if that's true, that's why I'm not naming a name, because I don't have any way to verify.
Right.
But from everything I understand, to me, something like that is absurd and it's insulting.
It's ridiculous.
It's because if you come to a point of understanding where you're like, okay, I'm going to do this, and it's not just something for me, I'm going to profess that I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to create something that helps other people do this, and then to turn away from it, to me, that it's like battlefield traitor in a way,
Yeah.
No, real something. You just made me think of something that I heard on another podcast. And it was about, it's funny about the exotic animals. So I had heard about this one dude who people were flipping about. He paid a certain amount, hundreds of thousands of dollars to kill a black rhino or whatever.
Oh.
And people were flipping, and I also was like, yeah, that's I believe in if you're hunting to eat and you use it all, or don't hunt, but also you shouldn't. If you're eating meat, you should know where your food's coming from.
Right.
But then I heard them talking that it was a bull rhino that was killing the population that was left. So they had to put him down, and the money that he donated was going in to conserve the ones that were living. So how do you see that? Now that gave it a twist. It made me like think about it in a different way.
Yeah, and that's it too.
So it's like
sometimes the media jumps on something too quick
Exactly.
when they don't have all the knowledge. Like, for instance, right now, there's photos circulating online of a dog with his mouth taped shut.
I seen it.
And there's people threatening this owner of this animal. And I heard they posted her address or something. And I was thinking, how ridiculous is that? That people are offended by this. This could have been a prank.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
totally.
put tape on him, just like somebody puts a Little
joke.
Mermaid costume on their cat or something ridiculous.
Right.
For a joke, because there's no way to verify whether this animal is literally being abused.
Yeah,
or
is
not.
he being abused
And when
or
at the
what?
same time, there was an NFL player a few years ago who was literally slaughtering pit bulls or having them slaughtered on his property with his knowledge. And I heard, we could investigate this, but like I heard they were being like hung or electrocuted or drowned. Like they weren't just getting a bullet in the brain and dropping dead. They were like being killed in like barbaric
Tortured.
ways. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe you guys know. I don't know. But that's what I heard was happening.
Right.
And then this guy is back on the field. He goes, I think he went to prison. And then
he
he's
did.
back on the field. And people are cheering for this dude. This dude's probably making millions of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the arguments that I heard was, well, he speaks out against dogfighting now. And I was thinking that'd be like Ted Bundy. Yes, he did rape and murder the cheerleaders, but he's out of prison now, and he's going to speak out against it.
Yeah.
So we should all give him a round of applause and a pat on the back. It's absurd.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy. People are crazy. And I always wondered that because that just, made me think. You know what I mean? I was like, how there's a spin on stuff. You know what I mean? And I was wondering, like, all right, like, what about hunting for food?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you spend any time out in the wilderness, in the woods, in nature, on the water, you're going to see the big fish eat the little fish. The birds swoop down and, grab the fish out of the shallow water, or a hawk grab a squirrel, or what have you. Obviously, there's like a cycle, you know what I mean, where animals eat each other. And I definitely think there's a lot more honesty in someone going into the woods or going out on the water and catching a fish themselves or harvesting a deer or what have you than there is in some animal being trapped in a cage.
Mass producing,
24 hours under the lights on a wire screen, and they're going down a line, and the animals in front of them are screaming because the ones in front of them are getting their heads cut off, or they're getting electrocuted. You know what I mean? For something as trivial as a fur coat, or trivial as their flesh, or what have you. Yeah. But I will say that. But obviously, I am an idealist, and ideally, I hope society gets to the point where when it comes to nutrition, when it comes to protein, everything is available that would be vegan. That would be a version of, what is now not there, if that says it. I hope it does.
I got a confession to do to you. I'm going to do it right now live. So we went on a tour, a very infamous tour called the Guilty by Association Tour, which you named, which we, that's a fact. We already traced the origins. But I remember on that tour, and this was, I don't know how many years ago, do you remember?
It might have literally been like 17, 18
Exactly.
years
So let's just say the vegan cuisine was still in the works. There was no towels out there yet. What up, Towel and Crossroads Kitchen?
It's there now. It's there now. I can say it with confidence.
No, definitely.
It's there.
There's a lot of good stuff out there. Shout out to Hardcore Sweets. They made some vegan cupcakes for yesterday that were amazing.
There you go.
And I wanted to bring you some for today, but it didn't make it.
Oh, well,
those aren't vegan. The vegan ones didn't make it. They got 8.
Win some, lose some.
Oh yeah. Oh man, they were good. Yeah, they were.
Those the girls with the short skirts in Pennsylvania?
No. This is and the guys from Connecticut, but I know the short skirts. But Hardcore Sweets was my man Bubba. He played in 100 Demons.
Oh, really?
And now he's making him and his whole squad the ball makers and everybody they call amazing sweets. Right. Anyway, and homegrown, so go support them. But I remember in those days it was hard for you guys to eat. I remember. Whenever we would run into a place where there was a restaurant, where there was a vegan restaurant back then, it wasn't like now.
No.
And I remember how excited you got. But I remember you guys rolling up one time and you had 4 boxes of I think it was Pedialyte, whatever it is, the milk or whatever. But they had it in chocolate, and I remember me and Johnny LaFada, our drummer at the time. These guys were out, and I remember we were hungry, and it was there was nothing to eat, and we're looking, and he's like, "Yo, look at this," and he goes, "Oh," I go, "Hey, don't touch that. That's these guys. They drink this when they don't got food," and he's like, "Yo, but this one says chocolate." And we say, "Fuck it, let's try one." Yo, those things were good. Me and John they drank 6 of them. So we took some of your Pedialytes out or whatever. What was it called?
All right, we're stepping outside of the van now.
Yeah, it was whatever it was. It was like milk you give fucking newborn babies. Come on. But they got it in chocolate and the shit was so good. And then later on I was like, oh man, but I had to live with that guilt for a long time. It was hard to sleep. That night I slept good though. That night I slept good, but Guilty by Association Tour.
Right. It was Madball, Crown of Thorns, or Scarhead. No, Scarhead.
Not Crown of Thorns.
Hatebreed.
Yep.
Earth Crisis, and maybe Son of Scam.
No, he was just there.
He was just there.
Oh, he was just...
Scam was just there. That was pre-Son of Scam.
It was pre...
Maybe that's what gave birth to it.
It did. It did. It totally did. No, that was pre.
We saw that
pre
video of him catcall the girls. Oh my God.
He's a nut. Yeah, Scam was out there. George Levels was out there. A bunch of characters. We had a bunch of Boston Mike, of course. Rest in peace.
Right.
He was out there with us. Man, we had an entourage.
And that was the first U.S. tour I guarantee any of those bands ever did on a bus. Any of us.
It was our
we shared a bus,
right?
Just to inform the people.
Oh yeah,
right?
let people know about that.
Madball and Earth Crisis, because really the whole tour revolved around us.
Yeah, and I would also like to say,
Earth Crisis, Madball co-headlining in the States. That's what the whole tour was, and then, you got to remember, Hatebreed was opening up for us. Those days. It's crazy if you think about that now.
We're ready to return the favor, Jamie.
What up, BD? What up?
We're ready. We're ready to go. So Guilty by Association 2. Yeah. Starring Hatebreed. Bad Ballers.
Featuring.
Small lettering. Also featuring.
Yeah, but definitely.
Blood ended up joining that too.
Also featuring Madball and Earth Crisis.
Yeah. But again, that's one of the things that I love that I remember on that tour, Heaven and Hell, what we used to call the bus.
That's right, the lounges, the dueling lounges.
The front was heaven, where all the nice people were, and in the back is where the devil lived.
Where the devil orchestrated the symphony.
Yeah, oh, there was symphonies, there was bagpipes getting blown, there was bottles, there was freaking
Cappuccino, where are you now?
Oh, Cappuccino. We got to do a whole podcast on her alone. But all right, we'll talk about that.
17 years later, where is she now?
She's on Cops. I think I saw her in the Ferguson riots. I think I saw her.
Jumping out of car.
Yeah, right. What are some of your memories of that tour being those? Just pick any, because I can name so many.
Oh, man.
What
a crazy
Mexican
combo.
police on motorcycles.
Tijuana. Yeah.
Yep. What else?
You guys came with us to Tijuana, right?
No, they were there.
Oh, you guys were there, and then we were coming, and you guys were
It
leaving.
broke off. When we got to the statue, we said,
Later.
we have to escape with our lives now.
Yeah.
This is time to escape with our lives.
So the angels left the building.
We have we just for anybody who checked out the Tijuana episode earlier that day, when we arrived at Tijuana, we actually ran into Karl and the other Earth Crisis guys who were there earlier, and we took a quick picture, which is actually on the YouTube version. But I remember talking to these guys like, hey, you guys are hanging out, and they're like, nah, we're out of here. And why didn't we listen? Why?
I know.
But
it lives up to its reputation. If you have not been to Tijuana, it definitely lives up to it.
yeah, and besides Tijuana, what else you remember? What any other situations? What do you remember from that tour? Because it's good to hear other people's
Well, it's
perspectives.
good to hear a sober perspective, because I think a lot of us weren't in that state of
I remember
mind.
good stuff too, though, because I know what
Absolutely.
you guys are in. Like there was like chicken fights in the pool. That was awesome. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean?
Fun. We had clean
Absolutely,
Yeah,
there was good, clean fun
there was that too.
Yeah,
Let's hear the real shit. Oh, the real shit. What did you see that was some real shit? Because you could feel free to talk, you know.
All right.
What were you finding interesting?
No names will be identified, but
Richie Scam did it. No, no. But
Only Scam's name will be identified in this. No dry snitching, just saying.
pass that blunt, Carl. Damn, he hit that shit hard. Oh shit, dab crisis.
Remember,
Yeah.
when Kansas City, remember Kansas City? Like 13 people lined up on the ground getting arrested.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
You know what?
Oh, you know what too? You guys, maybe it was you guys. Rat Bones is there, right?
He might have.
When he popped up somewhere?
I think he popped up, and people wanted to put him in a tire and roll him down a hill.
I think I remember that. It sounds familiar.
Really?
Probably.
Yeah, and after
Detroit
that,
had to be
after that brawl with all wherever
Which
it got
brawl?
Detroit.
no.
Which one?
No, not that one. I think Kansas City.
Uh-huh.
I was like, I knocked on this girl's car. I was like, open your trunk, and she opened the trunk, and we put him in there. No, when the cops were running around, and it worked. Yeah.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah.
Good.
See, quick thinking, right?
You know what was crazy?
I guarantee you, he does not remember that.
I remember rolling up to.
Saw him the other day.
I remember rolling up to Portland or somewhere, and there was people picketing you guys. Don't you remember? They were like, they wanted to boycott you guys.
That's right. We're the villains.
I love it. It
Every
wasn't Mambo
story.
for once. It wasn't Scarhead. It was the Earth Crisis.
It was finally our turn.
Yes, to shine.
I love
Yeah,
it.
we were the villains. In every story needs one though.
Yeah.
And that day we were. But you know what? They chilled out. That was it. Actually, not ended up being the nightmare that most of the other days were.
No, it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good. But you know, in that whole chaos, I mean, we bonded a lot. We all got to know each other. It's actually kind of crazy because
Did Marauder play that show with us in Detroit?
I don't remember. No, I don't think so. I don't think
Maybe that was a
I don't
different
think they played any part
Okay,
of
it was
that.
a different one.
Yeah. I don't think they played any part of that. I know Blood for Blood came on at one point. I think Hate Breed left.
Yeah, and then
and Blood for Blood
Hate
joined
Breed
the tour.
left in disgust.
Yeah, well, I think it was just that's how it was set up. I think they were supposed to do part of it, and then Blood for Blood was supposed to kick in for part of it.
Yep.
Um,
Remember White Trash Rob wore a Hawaiian shirt every day.
yeah.
I remember there was this guy sifting through a garbage can looking for bottles and stuff, and White Trash Rob ran up behind him. He goes, Dad, Mom wants you to come home. It's okay. It's okay.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
It's just a moment. It's just a moment of it. You know what I mean?
How long
All
was
those
that
little
tour?
things.
How long was that tour? 6 weeks?
I think it was
Fucking
full
a million
U.S.
weeks?
I think
Yeah.
it was full U.S.
It was definitely full U.S. because we went all the way to the West Coast.
Yeah.
Started on the East Coast. Started in Cleveland, to be specific, I want to say. Because remember, we started the tour in Cleveland. Yeah, that was like the thing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it started there.
Okay.
And then
Maybe we probably did another tour with Crown of Thorns too. Because
Well, you probably did. That
I
one
think
was
that was Scarhead.
That one was Scarhead, yeah.
And then Crown of Thorns came after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was us, Scarhead. That was you guys, us, Scarhead. Hatebreed at one point, Blood for Blood.
Why does it seem like you guys played with more non-straight edge bands than straight edge bands?
Because I don't know.
That's
A
amazing.
lot of those guys don't want to be our
What
friends.
about that
They didn't
lineup?
want to be our friends. They're like, these guys are too metal. Fuck them.
That's funny, man.
Right, but the Hoyas is the halftime. Earth Crisis is about the halftime. You got to love them.
But it's cool. It's cool how we all bonded, even though you come from different worlds.
And we
in a lot of ways.
got to credit Rabies because he introduced everybody to everybody.
He did, huh?
He really did. Yep.
Huh.
He was the ambassador.
us.
Yep.
Yeah.
It works
Yeah.
out.
But we did. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've been friends for a long time now.
Yeah, man.
Always.
Yeah.
And we've been to
Yeah.
Europe together too.
Sure. And that tour, I mean, we bonded and we kept the friendship from then till now, obviously. And it's like, I think that also can teach a lot of people.
That's true, too,
Things,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, we weren't, we didn't have the same, beliefs at that point, but we did bond, in other ways, in other levels.
Totally,
you know what
totally.
I mean?
That was the thing that a lot of people didn't understand, that we got along really well, and that people didn't expect us to get along. I remember sitting there high as fuck and talking shit with you, and I was like, you know what? I agree with this motherfucker. Maybe not what he's eating, but I agree with this motherfucker.
Yeah, but think about that. Think about the quintessential Madball line. I thank God and all my family. Without them, where the hell would I be? Because if you think about that, how many things in Earth Crisis are about those ideas in one way or another? You know what I mean? So if you boil it down, at the bottom of it, I do feel like the similarity.
root of it.
Yeah, the commonalities are all there.
We
They're completely there.
definitely
aspect.
we
That's what I'm
definitely
saying,
linked
yeah.
on family.
aspect.
Right.
And we also linked up,
The loyalty,
especially
that's
we
big,
talked
too.
a lot about faith. Me and you would always talk about faith a
Absolutely.
lot.
Yeah, master creator.
Which we create. That we don't all believe in, even in this band. I don't speak for this band. We believe in people. Everybody believes in something.
My beliefs have morphed.
But I definitely have faith and I believe, as much as whatever you want to call it, energy, you want to call it God, you want to call it Jehovah, whatever you want to call it, I believe, and for myself, I know it's real because I've been in situations where I got saved. Straight up,
totally.
Well, if it's fake, then that fake should help me. Whatever it be, I believe it, and but I know we always agreed on that faith, to believe in something.
Totally. And there were times when, I literally, could have been killed, and I prayed, and it was so miraculous that, I have to give credit to God that I was saved by Him. There's no other logical explanation why I would not have been killed. And I don't want to get into all the specifics of it, but you know what I'm saying? I mean,
why I like asking you a question like this, because you're a smart guy, and I know a lot what you talk is stuff that you research. Even if I don't agree with it, I know it's stuff that you kind of you speak what you back up, and I love it.
Yeah.
That's why I like getting your output on something like this, because I like, faith is something that, again, we touched base on for many years. We back and forth.
Right.
So it's always curious to bring it up now in a time where it's a different thing now.
yeah.
It's like there's branches of that now.
Mm-hmm.
And some of it is not there no longer, or some of it is morphed into something else. But some people don't believe at all.
Right.
So it's just curious that we still have some old style tendencies, but yet you have some new style tendencies with the way you live in and looking out.
Progressive
Exactly.
thinking in a lot of areas, which is actually common sense.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
In some ways,
I'm
sure.
with you on a lot
So
of
like,
stuff.
all right, like God. You believe in God. Let's
Yeah.
talk about, I would say that right now. So you believe in God. I believe in God.
Absolutely, yeah. But then again, this is me speaking, not
Exactly.
me speaking for everyone in Earth Crisis.
Of course.
Me
Me too.
But at the same time, And I always give credit where credit's due. I think Ray Capel wrote an amazing line with Shelter. He said, "A painter with no painting," meaning how could there be creation if there was no creator? And I thought that was a brilliant way of addressing that and simplifying it and getting the concept across. Like, look into the concept of a master creator. There's so much complexity to just like the structure of a cell or of an atom or of a subatomic particle. How could that have just sprang into being without an intelligent design, without a purpose? Especially thinking how things like self-replicate, like the seeds of a tree. Like, think about just how miraculous that is. That tree that we're looking at.
Of birth,
anything, It just, to me, it's like all arrows point to creator. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's funny because more and more nowadays I meet people that are, I'm atheist. There's nothing wrong with be what you want to be, but it's funny. It almost seems like people are just trying to be up on the net. I'm more up on reality than you, and I'm going to go this way. It's like atheist. And then I like to think of, I want to see how you're reacting when there's a gun to your head, or somebody got
that's
your
what I'm talking
somebody
about.
got your mother by her neck, right? The dude's saying he's going to take your mother and he's going to stick foreign objects in her. I want to know who you're praying to, or what are you thinking in your head to help you. That's what I want to know. And if I could get in your head that second and I hear, damn, I wish I could do something, and you ain't thinking, please, somebody help me, God, help, you're God. I want to hear that. I want to hear that because I really think I've been in situations where I should have become a non-believer. You know what I mean? And that's the time where I'm like, but I find myself arguing with the person I'm claiming is not there, whatever it be.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but then I'm like, I'm arguing with the person I'm saying is not there. So I'm acknowledging that somebody, to me.
Yeah, and that's what I think.
Me,
I think a lot of people use the word atheist, but the reality is they're agnostic.
Yeah.
They don't
Exactly.
know. They haven't looked
That's
into it.
fair
And the
game,
other thing is, we have to acknowledge the reality that some people drift away from religion because they literally had it like forced down their throat when they were young. They're going to church 3 times a week.
I know many people
and they
that
were,
way.
It was very judgmental. And it was very closed-minded, and people felt persecuted and alienated.
I have family members like that.
Yeah, and so it's understandable if we're going to play in a music scene that's filled with angry motherfuckers, that some of their anger and some of these people comes from that source. We have to address that reality as well. It's how it's presented,
Absolutely.
too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's how it's presented.
It stems from upbringing. It stems from all that.
Right.
That all factors in.
Right. And I think it's, it's like you can look at religion like I think Gandhi said, I like your Christ, but I don't like all your Christians.
Nice.
And he was probably,
That's hard.
I would think, a Hindu.
Yeah.
You know
That's
what I mean?
hard.
So he was somebody looking at it, a man who was walking a peaceful path, looking at it from the outside, and that was one of his conclusions. You know what I mean?
You know what's something crazy talking about Gandhi that kind of bugged me out that I found out? That as holy and, Gandhi, that's the perfect, or what do you, way of thinking, right? Or one of the most similar piece. He used to sleep with underage girls in bed and say he wanted to test his willpower.
Has that been verified?
Let's Google it, and that's what I heard that he used to do.
You never know, though. That might be some British government propaganda
It
trying
could
to
be.
fuck with
but
him.
it could be
Because he
also
was
not.
such,
Maybe.
motivating leader. And he was leading a nonviolent revolution against their occupation. We might not, we might want to put that one through the little test first.
I'm not citing him. That's what I heard. And what if it is?
What if it is? Well, then
he's a fucking degenerate.
Right.
No, but do you think that erases everything he stood for then?
That erases everything. Bye.
Oh, shit, Ruben, you're fucked.
On to the next one.
No, because I actually heard that about that. But I know what you mean, but no, I had actually heard some shit like that he used to do that to test himself.
That's weird.
actually, that might have been in the movie. They might have.
It wasn't- I didn't- I
they
actually-
might have referenced it.
I didn't actually
Like his
watch
wife
the
might have been
movie.
like, "What's going on?" Oh, I'm testing myself.
No, you talking about
Keep in mind. I saw
You
that
got it
movie
confused with
when I was
Brokeback
like-
Mountain. You got it confused. Wrong mountain. Wrong movie. Yeah. Be coming around the mountain when she comes.
Veering in all directions.
Yeah. But, well, Gandhi. Yeah, what up, Gandhi? Look I back Gandhi if he didn't do that shit, Gandhi, I got your back.
I don't know though, but I will say that
Yeah.
you never know. You never know what's propaganda.
Exactly.
And
And nowadays you have the internet is the new platform for people to just spread that kind of propaganda about anyone and everyone. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I'm with you on that. I don't totally buy it.
Yeah,
We'll have to look into it.
It would strike me as inconsistent with
With
the
who he was.
character
Yeah.
that was at least portrayed. You know what I mean? It would strike me as very inconsistent.
Yeah.
Therefore, it caused me to doubt the validity of that, or to at least it calls that aspect of the story into question.
We're going to have to send the Earth Crisis team to go
That's right.
investigate.
So that means maybe, you know, that what you just said. It's like, all right,
You
maybe.
never know. You
Basic.
never know. I mean,
one way or the other.
yeah.
All right, yeah, I hear you. And Dalai Lama, how you feel about him? I don't know. I'm just throwing this name because I think of Gandhi, I think of Dalai Lama.
The Dalai Lama.
I don't know much
Dude,
about him.
listen to this,
I want to
listen
know
to
what
this.
you think about him.
The Dalai Lama actually came to Ithaca, a city maybe like an hour south of us. And one of the things that he said, from what I understand, was he said that hunting or killing an animal is one of the worst things a human can do for their karma. And I thought that was interesting.
Yo, Dalai Lama, shout out to the Dalai Lama, Wu-Tang Clan.
what I heard.
Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck
What
with.
I heard.
Yo, no, I hear you. You know,
Right.
but I also want to see the jet he flies over to America in. And then talk to me. I doubt he's an American like we fly. And Coach sitting in row B32.
Right. Back by the toilets.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting hit in the knee
Actually,
all day.
You shouted out Tall.
Oh yeah,
You know,
of course.
our friend, our dear friend, and a great chef, and guy who's revolutionizing vegan cooking. He actually has cooked for the Dalai Lama. It's funny enough.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we talked about him. Yeah.
But you know what?
So that's an interesting thing.
Even more, I heard he cooked for Madball. Even more, how about that?
Even better.
Yeah. Shout out to Crossroads.
President Clinton.
Tell him about Crossroads. Shout out
You
to
hear
Town.
that?
What
You
up?
hear that? The vegans are winning. Madball ate a vegan dinner.
Hey, let me ask you this. Let me tell you this. Who always had love for the
Or
vegans?
many vegan dinners.
Who always
It was. It was Madball.
Who never gave a fuck that you were vegan? Who always backed you, the vegans?
It was Warzone, it was Madball, and it was AF. And it's true.
Well, that's the thing. I think it's just a matter of we respect sincerity. We respect genuine people. It didn't matter, what your beliefs were or your background was. If you were honest and real and sincere about what it is you were representing, and I think that went both ways. That worked both ways. You know what I mean? You guys respected us for who we were because, for better or worse, we were real people. We were real individuals, and we kept it real. Like what we said, we meant. We said we backed up, and that's how we lived our lives. Obviously we've grown up more and we've evolved and so on and so forth. That's a whole other thing. But you guys backed up what you sang about. You backed up, you lived, what you were singing about. What so I think that when it comes down to it, that was the common denominator. That's the thing that, kind of brings us all, to that place is the fact that it's coming from a organic, real place, a genuine place, a sincere place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of fake shit out there in the world.
There is.
on all sides. So
Yeah, and that's what drew me to hardcore.
Yeah.
It's like all of us.
But even in hardcore, there's a lot of fake shit. You know this now,
yeah.
by being
We
in the
know
game
that
for as long as you have been.
As adults.
Yeah.
As adults, yeah. But I'm just saying, like, when we were younger, like, we weren't drawn to bands that were wearing costumes and makeup and, you know what I mean, singing about this and that.
Yeah.
Like, we were drawn to the reality of what was being,
What do you
dealt with.
What do you listen to now? Like as far as, all right now in your car, we put the fucking radio on. What's gonna come on?
No, that's good. Let's see. I've been listening to Tyrant from Detroit and Poison Tongues and Twitching Tongues and
Tickle your ass tongue. Tickle your fucking.
that comes later. What else? No, and I've been listening to some of the bands we've been out on the road with. I listened to let's see.
So you have your ear to the street.
Yeah,
you're checking for the young blood that's coming.
Definitely.
up.
Like Wolf Down, they're awesome from Germany, and
Right.
been listening to Manipulate. Got a great singer, great guitar tone. Yeah, there's tons of great stuff out
Yeah,
there.
they just got a shitty bass player though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, what up, Busky? Nah, what up, BM Busk?
No, we love Busky. We love Busky despite
Syracuse.
Busky. We
Yeah.
love him.
Syracuse.
That's
Yeah.
right. He's an OG.
Yeah.
But he ain't straight edge, I'll tell you that.
No. No.
It was amazing.
But he has been a loyal friend, and
Oh.
I've known him since he was probably like 13 or 14.
yeah,
He's been out with Earth Crisis. He played in Terror and Promise. Freya was out with Promise, and
it's crazy. And we also have.
and Earth Crisis played Maximum Penalty a couple years ago.
And also, Mikey, who's our drummer now, actually, we used you guys as one of our references when we thought about trying him out. You know, we had our eye on him, but we weren't sure what's up with how he was living at the time, because he was on tour with Unearthed at the time, and they were a party band, and there's nothing wrong with partying, but we were kind of over that one. We were on another level. And then I remember asking you guys, like, yo, what's up with Mikey? Like, well, and you guys were like, nah, he's great. He's on point. I asked Scumbag. I was like, yo, and he was like, nah, he's good. He's on point. And I said, fuck. If he, you guys knew us, and you knew us at a crazier time, but you also know, how we really are. We may have gotten in trouble and shit, but we were good dudes at the end of the day.
Right.
So we used you guys as a gauge. And then I remember saying, and also as a band, you guys were always a tight band.
Even playing wise, because Dennis is a beast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
yeah.
If you
And
had
just
this
for
guy
the record-
playing with you, he must be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We knew if he could hang musically with you guys, okay, that's already, which we knew he was a great drummer, but also as people.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, we knew, and you guys gave us a bag, and we're like, yo, he fucking did it with Earth Crisis. He should be all right with us, because we felt like we were similar people, and like how we like to live on the road, and
Sure.
what we're about. We're like,
The respect factor,
Yeah, totally.
common courtesy factor.
Right. Mike is, he's a great player, and he survived multiple Earth Crisis tours intact.
Yeah.
He only snapped once and smashed a room and tore the ceiling down.
That's
once,
wow, nice.
only once,
Only once. Cool.
Yeah. So, right there, we proved that he's he's Madball worthy,
Exactly.
Madball material.
Well, he had to do that at least once to become Madball material, actually.
That's right.
That helped.
he's stuck with us now.
Yeah, no, Mike's been great, man. And he was with you guys off and on for a while,
Yeah,
right? Filling in
absolutely.
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, because here's one thing too. I want people to know when they see Earth Crisis. Sometimes we've got JD, our bass player from Path of Resistance,
Right.
and he'll jump on when Bulldog can't go.
Yeah.
Or if Eric can't go, Jimmy from Undying will come with us.
Right.
And if Dennis can't go, we've had Andy from Fall Out Boy, and we've had Mike.
Yeah.
So my thought is, I never want people to feel like the band is pushing down on them. Dude, you want to be there for your daughter's christening? Be there for the christening. That's fine.
Yeah. Family first.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. We've got plenty of talented friends that can fill in here and there. You just fly home those days and come back, or you fly home and come back on the next tour. It's fine.
Right.
And it's made the band work so much better. It's alleviated so much stress doing it that way.
And I'm guessing it's kept it alive, right?
Yeah, totally,
In a
'cause we've
sense,
been-
because it kind of keeps the ball rolling,
Totally, because we've been hitting pretty hard over the last, I think, in another month it'll be 10 years.
Oh my
We've
God.
done 2 7-inches and 3 full lengths, and we've been to South America and Europe and Australia and Japan and all throughout the U.S. and Canada and all over, But I think doing it that way makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make people feel like they're under pressure.
No, it makes total sense. It makes
And
total
some of these guys were drawn out of the Path of Resistance stable anyways, which is our own band too.
sense. Right. So it comes from the same family.
Right.
And
to
anything
speak.
new with the other bands, or what's like right now? It's basically this. What are we? December what? December
Probably the 8th or 9th.
the 6th.
Oh,
Today's December
all right.
6th. All right. 2016 comes. What's your plans musically? Like, is Earth Crisis going to be doing more shows? Are you doing more recording? Is your other bands doing? Who's doing what? Are the other guys doing anything?
Oh yeah. Earth Crisis is going to South America next year in California. I know that for a fact. And Path of Resistance has a new record. And my guitar player Flynn, he is an illustrator and a painter. He just, I gotta give him a pat on the back here because he would never tell you this. He just sold a painting to Guillermo del Toro.
Wow.
He
Guillermo.
flies all around. He does gallery shows.
Nice.
And I think he's, an incredible, fantasy type artist. He can paint monsters and
Wow, that's
demons
dope.
and just
Nice.
crazy stuff. He does all the Freya merch. He does all the, all of our designs, and he's working on the cover right now.
Right.
And this record, if our plan actually works, is going to basically be a book.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
And it's like with a story, and then the music is it.
What's the theme?
The theme is like if you look at some of like the cautionary tales from like medieval Europe, that would be described as like folklore or fairy tales or whatever.
Right.
They all have bases in reality.
Absolutely.
Like the Black Plague or warfare or just on and on down
Everything
the line.
is based
we
on
went
some-
to the historical realities of what started these stories,
Sure.
and we wrote songs off them. So I think
Nice.
I think it's original concept, and that's that's the same thing that kind of made Earth Crisis stand out. I think, because every album is a concept album,
Yes.
and it's about specific things that have happened historically that from our perspective didn't get the attention that they should have, or weren't told in the depth that they should have been told when the stories were touched on.
And where you're recording at? I know the last couple of things Scott recorded some stuff, right?
He did. We recorded out at Zeus's place.
Okay, so yeah, I remember with Zeus. I always get confused because you guys got a lot of records too.
And then
I know
Scott
Scott was
mixes it or
Scott was
whatever it
involved
is.
and that's dope. Yeah. Scumbags, shout out to Scumbag Scott out there.
Right.
And he's in California or what?
He moved to North Carolina now.
North Kakalaka.
Yeah, he's down there now.
Scumbag. Scumbag. But that's good. And that's what style? Same,
Yeah.
Earth Crisis, crossover.
Yeah, it's like it's that mixture of metal and
Let me ask you
hardcore.
this. What made you take that direction with your music? Because you mentioned, obviously being influenced by a lot of New York, Boston stuff, and that's more,
And the
I guess,
British stuff,
traditional,
too.
and the British stuff. So all the stuff you mentioned was more like traditionally rooted in like punk, I guess you can say.
Totally,
But I
you
mean,
can
there's
say.
always going to be metallic influence in there. I mean, especially when you're talking about New York hardcore. But you know what I'm saying? So like, where did you get like the heavier approach? Because you guys took it to a different place, musically speaking.
When I was younger, I would take just like I would make little tapes, and I would take just the slow songs
Right.
off of South of Heaven, or Rain and Blood, or
Right.
just the slow songs off Age of Quarrel, and I would listen to that,
Right.
Because slow was always my favorite,
Right.
So I think that kind of became our signature, and that kind of made us stand out a little bit more, because I was like, no man, slowing it down makes it heavier. You know what I mean?
Right.
Slowing it down and then breaking it down from there.
Right.
Like we were in Japan last year and we played Unseen Holocaust, like a song that's probably 25 years old, off of one of the first records, and it was pretty wild, like how slow it is when we play it right. You know what I mean?
Right. No, but it's cool because you guys were really doing something, different at that time, and doing something that really influenced a lot of,
and it does
really
get
influenced a
lost
lot
in
of
the
people.
mix a little
Yeah.
bit now.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It does. Like, not everyone knows that that's the origin of this, and that.
Right.
Which is kind of cool that the label Bullet Tooth got that video together and put that up, the Earth Crisis soundtrack for Action, because they interview a lot of bands
Right.
who grew up into Earth Crisis and
Right.
supporting it and appreciating it.
Yeah. No, it's. I wanted to get that.
And it was cool too, because I did not see it, but Scott told me about it. He said the MTV did a documentary about history of metal or something, and they had like a family tree, and our branch, the branch that Earth Crisis was called Metalcore.
There you go.
From metallic hardcore.
I was just going to mention that too, because I was going to say that genre. I got to say, man, like you guys were a big part of that. Like that was like you were very influential to that branch of Now there's all kinds of cores, metalcore, this core, that core. But I mean, that wasn't such a popular or trendy word back then.
Oh, totally. 'Cause I got to think.
But you guys were doing that.
Yeah, we did not sound.
In essence,
we didn't sound like. Instead.
Right.
We did not sound like.
Yeah. And in all fairness, we were all doing our
Gorilla
own kind of
Biscuits.
thing, our own version of whatever.
Right.
We all were. I mean, I guess that's why we, stand out in our own different ways. But yeah, man, you guys definitely, the heavier, that sound, that more metalcore sound. I mean, you guys definitely influenced that that genre big time.
That sound like heavy metal, man. You sound like heavy metal, man. Let me ask you this. Karl, there's no Earth crisis. Where are you right now? What are you doing? What's your job?
What's my job?
There's no music. You never had Earth crisis. This shit never happened. Where you think you would be? What would you be doing right now?
You know what? A lot of people are going to not like this answer.
A butcher.
No. I could think about this in real life. And I'm going to answer it in a real way. You know, because that's honestly a cool
Abortion
question.
clinic.
No. Listen, my dad, my uncle, my cousin, my other cousins all went into the military.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but people will think it's weird. But I don't know. I've always respected them. And
even though you were anti a lot of things that the government does,
that's right.
I'm in agreement with I'm in agreement with.
I think their protective instincts are what led them to those careers. You know what I mean? Their desire to like defend their family, their desire to defend their
turf, their home.
Exactly. Like their instincts were absolutely on the right path. Unfortunately, I do think that this government is controlled by corporations who use our military like mercenaries.
That's the problem.
Don't like saying that.
Yeah.
Don't not everyone's going to like hearing that.
Yeah.
But
that's a truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you would be in the military.
Definitely, because I mean, I respect all those
You'd
guys.
be a mercenary.
I would not be a mercenary. I'm just saying. I realize that now as a 45-year-old man. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's most likely what
that
would
could
have
have been.
That's most likely what would have happened. Yeah.
There'll be some soy milk waterboarding going on, I think, if you in the military. Guantanamo Bay, they be fucked.
You drank all our chocolate soy milk.
I'm
what are we going to use?
Sorry.
You know, it's never too late, though. It's never too late
to pay that back.
Go to the store and buy a couple cases of chocolate soy milk. You know what, Karl? I've been keeping me awake at night, but we're gonna make this right.
You could have 4 waters.
We're gonna make it right tonight.
Pedialyte. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
No, soy milk. It's soy milk.
Oh, sorry, man. The Pedialyte. No, it was like in a can, like the shit you give babies.
It was. Yeah, it was. It was shitty.
It was soy milk.
Yeah.
I want to say it was fucking some other shit.
It's soy milk with corn syrup in it. Well, that was what made it sweet. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Whatever it was.
It's not really good for you.
Not good for you.
All right.
But it's still great. It's still great.
That shit is fucking... That shit is GMO.
When you got to Europe, you loved that soya pudding over there.
Oh, yeah.
You must have lived on that,
Europe,
when you guys went over there.
You know what, though? I will say this about Europe. You are not treated like an animal or a robot over there. They actually value musicians.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, you guys know it.
Yeah, no, Europe's a second house for us.
They value the source of their food, like they don't participate, like they want no part of that whole like Monsanto movement and all that. Like there's, I mean, not to say that they're not corrupt in their own ways, because let's face facts. All governments have, an immense amount of corruption going on, but there's still some sort of respect for certain things that we can learn a lot from the Europeans, man.
I think so. And there was a pharmaceutical company in Europe a couple years ago that was trying to use the law to manipulate to their advantage to ban vitamins.
Yeah.
That's like some Mr. Burns from The Simpsons diabolical move, so that everybody gets, and they'll have no vitamins. And they'll all crawl to our medicine.
You know what's great?
It's demonic.
I do like that they're into
but it's real. That was happening.
It actually happened.
Yeah. And people were protesting it.
They definitely got the quality of food, and that whole thing is better there. But they got to chill out with this mushroom shit, dude. They're relentless with the mushrooms, dude.
And the carrots.
I don't mind the fucking carrot, mushrooms, and everything, dude. And everything. That shit is whack. All you people out there eating mushrooms, go fuck yourself.
And give the carrots to Hoya.
Yeah, give the carrots. I'll see right through you.
Does not want them.
Eyes.
We do not believe in them.
Earth Christ don't back carrots?
No. Unless they've been put into their proper carrot cake form.
Yeah.
You know where I was going.
All right, okay. All right,
proper carrot cake form.
It's true, though. That's where they belong.
Listen,
the end.
Quick story.
This concludes our podcast. Thank you for listening.
Quick vegan story. I'm in Chicago, across the street from the Metro, and there was a Baskin Robbins or some shit. I don't remember what it was. So I go in there, and I'm a Bulldog, and they have like something that said. Something sorbet, obviously
Italian ice,
whatever. He was looking for the vegan stuff.
Yeah.
So there was an Indian guy or something who was working it who had he knew 3 English words, and they had nothing to do with ice cream. And then we're like, Bulldog's trying to ask. I'm like, yeah, let me get my chocolate or whatever. And then Bulldog's like, excuse me, what's that? Is it a vegan? The guy, vegan? Dairy's dairy. And he goes, oh yeah, no. The guy just kind of agreed with him. But I see Bulldog. The guy says, yeah, don't worry, dairy free. So Bulldog gets like a scoop or whatever, and then I see him looking at it like through the corner of my eye, like he's not digging in yet. I see him. He takes a scoop. He takes a little taste, and then I just see him take the fucking sundae and dump it in the garbage.
Oh shit!
And I go, yo, what the hell happened? He goes, it tastes too good to be vegan. And I never forget that.
Concludes our podcast.
Exactly, but let me ask you this.
Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for listening.
Yeah, no, one last.
Please direct friends and family to the following link.
Yeah, exactly.
Also,
no, let me ask you this. One of my last questions for you.
Enlightening conversation.
Let me ask you this.
Freddie Madball, Hoya Madball.
Listen,
all right.
You're on an island.
I'm on an island.
You got one record. What's that record? Now think about it, because you're stuck with it for the rest of your fucking life. I don't care what it is, and no best ofs.
Oh man,
go.
Do I have food on this island?
Does it have to be vegan?
Yeah, it has to be vegan.
You got coconut.
I'm alone on this island?
Alone. So no
Damn.
Barry White. No Barry White.
No Barry. That's true. It wouldn't help.
One album for the rest of your life. It could be anything, but no best ofs.
I don't know. Could I get a...
No.
Okay.
One record.
It could be anything,
One
any
record.
genre, anything
any
you want.
genre.
But I mean, do you want to listen to heavy shit? You might want to kill yourself after a while.
You'd probably want to listen to Age of Quarrel and Swim for Sure.
Yeah.
How about that?
Oh, there you go.
Get charged up and like John
go for
Joseph, go into full Iron Man mode and swim for the continent.
No, I asked this question. We've been doing this for a while.
He could do it.
It's a question we always...
See, you look at me and Hoya, we don't like sit-ups. He'll do the sit-ups.
Yeah, he does it for me.
Yeah.
No, but it's a question... It's a question I always ask on the road.
Freddie was laughing.
It's a question we always ask on the road, because you'd be surprised what people think is what's their ultimate album. And we actually had a lot of different people tell us their albums, but they got lost in the mix because
the Lost podcast. That was
because everybody, Jurg out there, our sound guy, my boy, and our sound guy, I'm gonna give you his address.
/ podcast engineer.
Yeah, we're gonna give you his email address so you could tell him thanks for losing those fucking old podcasts, and thanks for getting this on iTunes, which it ain't on iTunes yet, but we're hoping to get it on iTunes soon. But
that's good though, because we can kind of bring that into like that could be something that we can continue to ask people.
But yeah, no, it's a one-on-one question.
It's a valid question.
One-on-one question, but I'm surprised. So you really gonna pick the THROWBACK record as your one record for the rest of your life?
Come on.
Shout out to the THROWBACK. Mackie, what up? What up, blood clot?
I love Age of Quarrel. But I don't know
Shout out to the real THROWBACK. What up?
I don't know if I don't know if I'd pick that for the rest of my life though.
I'll tell you what mine was. Mine was Thriller by Michael Jackson. That shit has slow jams, fast jams, love songs. It takes you through an emotional roller coaster ride of emotions.
I have too many, man.
Now that too many shit is whack. You got to name one. Barrel
That's what
down.
I did. I was
barrel down.
I
It wouldn't be a
pinpointed
hardcore
something.
record, I guarantee
I
that.
pinpointed something.
You said the THROWBACK.
Yes.
So you can swim. So you can swim for
Swim for sure.
the continent.
That's right. There you go.
That's a good.
And what did you say last time? You said something like fucking Tracy Chapman or some shit. You said
Tracy Chapman.
That's what he said.
I think I might have said Bob Marley in the end. I went through a few different options, but we're in an island. Bob Marley and legend. Like that record just has so many hits. It's like you got to listen to it all the time. You know what I mean? There's worse things that you could be sitting there listening to. You know what I mean? But there are a few records that I would have picked actually.
Carlos, before we get out of here, anything you got? You want to anything? Are you going to be on tour? I know we tapped on that already, but is there anything you want to let people know you're doing? Because people listen to this.
It's Guilty by Association Part 2 happening.
All right, I'm going to be real direct with you. If you don't have Neutralize the Threat, To the Death, and Salvation of Innocence, and you are an Earth Crisis fan, You got to get those records, man. You just got to get them.
You're full of shit.
You got to get them. Dude, Salvation of Innocence came out with a comic book with a story that I put together with one of the illustrators. He did the whole thing.
Nice.
It's legit. It's legitimately different. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's a legitimately different thing Earth Crisis has done after all these years. So we're very proud of that record. And you got to get it. You know, your boyfriend's into the band, whatever. Go get it for him for Christmas. You know, make that happen.
Be a real fan of real music.
We're real proud of those records, you know. And, you know, it is cool when kids are like, yeah, man, you know, oh, from this year to that year, I listened to Earth Crisis. I would drive, you know, to Connecticut or Pennsylvania or New York to see you. Dude, it has gone on and it's gone on and on.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more to discover. There's a lot more to experience. There's a lot more that we've created that we're very proud of. So check it out. And thanks to everyone who has supported and appreciated Earth Crisis over all these years, everyone we've recorded with, who's engineered, who's put us out on their label, bands that we've played with and traveled with, all the friendships that we've made, you know, we cherish them, and all the adventures that we've had, all the places we've gotten to explore around this world. You know, this band is our dream come true. And we get to use this music and enjoy our friendship and hopefully, you know, at the same time deliver a message of kindness towards animals, respect for the natural world, and just acknowledging the reality that, you know, a lot of the stuff that our government is doing right now, a lot of stuff that the cartels and the pharmaceutical companies are doing is definitely
especially the pharmaceutical companies,
to our detriment. And you got to read about this stuff, and you got to read, and then you got to read more, and you got to pay attention.
Is there somewhere where they can go, where they can connect with you? Is it you want to drop something where they can connect with you, where maybe they can get some of this useful information?
Yeah, you could. I mean, there's Earth Crisis Facebook. You know? Yeah.
Thank you, Carlos. I want to thank Earth Crisis. I want to thank all the vegans out there, all the mighty and non-vegans,
and the mighty Syracuse vegan straight edge scene.
Yeah, of course.
25 years.
Definitely.
25 years forever true.
Definitely.
Into the future.
Big shout out to you for doing this with us. Big shout out to everybody, you know,
Uprise.
everybody who supported our bands,
The Promise,
and the movement.
Another Victim.
Respect.
Ghost Ship. Path Resistance.
There you go.
Earth Crisis, on and on. Gatekeeper Framework.
And is Madball like honorary somehow?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But definitely go out, check out Earth Crisis on their Facebook, on their Instagrams, on their web pages.
Vegan straight edge forever.
Vegan people. Shout out to all you animals out there.
Hey, respect to you, Karl, and the rest of the boys. You know, aside from, you know,
Scott.
Aside from Scott. Aside from the fact that, you know, we obviously have a friendship that goes way back, but respect to you guys for keeping it real. You know, for lack of a better way of saying it. You know, not to sound cliche, but it's true, man. There's a lack of real people that stick by their ideals and stick by their word and stuff these days. I mean, it's getting thinner and thinner. The world is getting more and more fickle. So respect to you guys for keeping it honest, man.
Thinner? What do you mean? Who's getting thinner? Okay, well, anyway. The Smokin' Word Podcast. We out.